Am I the asshole? My fish is missing and my parents immediately went nuclear. This past Labor Day weekend my husband and I went to Georgia for an event. Together we have a small zoo in our house, so we got my parents to watch the menagerie. What is most relevant here is that one of my cats is super shy, and that I own an aquarium. Earlier in the trip my parents tell me that they cannot find my shy cat. No big deal, he's great at hiding and doesn't like anyone except me and my husband. I've told them this before and remind them of this. Other than this one issue they don't mention any concerns. Fast forward to when I come home and I don't manage to find all of my aquarium fish. I'm not super worried about this because the ones I'm missing are super stealthy and I regularly lose to their hiding spots. 2 days go by and I've found everyone at this point except one rainbow shark. At this point I get worried, and so this morning I flip all the decor over and hand search. There is no possible place for him to be in this aquarium. I've checked the filters and all the tubing. So today I called and asked them if they had seen anything happen. Fish are super delicate, so while I would have been sad I wouldn't have been mad at all if anything had happened. I asked them once if anything had directly happened, and then I offered a few scenarios that could have happened. Cat stuck a paw in while they had the lid off and preoccupied feeding. The cats are super quick and hungry for novelty. Maybe the lid had been off while they were not directly looking at it and the fish jumped out. Did the water seem visibly fouled at any point as though another fish had eaten him, etc.? My mom said no to anything. My mom did then inform me that they found a dead rat in my house and that they had put him in my kitchen trash can. I thought that they might have mistaken a cat toy for a real mouse until she sent me a photo. This is definitely weird as we have never had a mouse inside the house before. At this point I asked my mom if my dad had seen anything and my dad comes on the phone nuclear, screaming how he doesn't want to talk anymore about my fucking fish. Your fucking cat disappeared for 2 days. He kept on, but I didn't hear the rest. He wasn't missing but hiding in his cabinet, which is normal. At this point I told them they were being rude and hung up. Mind, the conversation had been civil sounding prior to my dad. My mom has since messaged me calling me rude for acting like she was a liar, and I don't know what to do. The water levels are testing just fine, so I can't see at all how he could have eaten him without fouling the water via test. It's like he disappeared completely. Which doesn't happen, and if it does, I need to figure out how it happened so I can prevent it from happening again. I've texted my mom off and on since then, and it's like she's being deliberately obtuse about me being concerned for the safety of the rest of the fish. Too long did not read. My fish is missing and my pet sitter DGAF. Soft, you are the asshole. You have 7 cats and an aquarium? That's a lot of responsibility for someone not used to it. I'm a former vet tech and I would say no if someone asked me to pet sit that many animals. I would be annoyed as well if you repeatedly asked me what happened if I didn't know. It sounds like this was stressful for your parents, and you kinda made it worse by hounding them about the fish. I'm guessing they did the best they could and it may have come off as ungrateful. I called and asked them if they had seen anything. I asked them once again. Then I offered a few scenarios that could have happened. I asked my mom if my dad had seen anything. You pestered and pestered and pestered because they didn't give you the answer you wanted. I would have lost patience with you too. You are the asshole. It sucks that your fish is missing, but asking over and over again isn't going to change the answer. I don't know what kind of filter you have, but check it even if there's just no way to get in there. At my work we lost a clownfish for over a year. One day I happened to peer inside the filter at the back of the tank and he shimmied up to the surface and scared the crap out of me. Bro was pale and developed a neurotic habit of swimming up and down, but he survived. You are the asshole. It's a fish. They jump. Inexperienced caregivers can easily miss a jumper, and having a cat can guarantee a fun snack in the dead of night. Your parents don't know what happened to your fish because nobody saw it happen. Your repeated questions about the missing fish after they gave you an answer becomes harassment. They did you a favor while you were out of town and I'm sure they now feel attacked. Just stop. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. He's gone. Nobody has answers. It's not worth destroying or souring relationships over something out of everyone's control. Is there a possibility that your mom was getting upset with your questions? It sounds a little like they found looking after your animals to be kinda stressful, and you were pressing her about something she may not have known anything about. That may have been what set your dad off, was seeing her get upset, especially if they really did the best they could. I don't think he should have sworn at you, though. You are the asshole. Why did you keep pestering and offering solutions? Did you suspect your parents lied to you? If you think your parents would lie, why trust them to watch your animals in the first place? When you ask someone repeatedly if they're sure nothing happened or offer possible scenarios after they've already said they don't know, you're basically accusing them of lying. This is actually a police interrogation technique to get a suspect to confess. You obviously have unpredictable expectations if you don't care that they could have lost a cat for days, which they reported honestly, and yet expect them to know where every fish is through every second of time. Am I the asshole for hiding my food from my housemate's partner? My housemate and I share a flat. We share stuff like salt, pepper, and spices, but otherwise our food is separate, and we each have our own shelves in the cupboard. Every time my housemate's partner comes over, they cook a huge meal, often using all my fancy stuff like soy sauce and sesame oil, never offering me any of what they made. They also don't really clean up after themselves, but that's a whole other story. Lately, I've started hiding some of my food on the higher shelves. I'm tall, so I can reach it easily, so it's not so easy for them to grab. They've noticed and have been a bit off with me ever since. Am I the asshole for doing this, or am I just protecting my groceries? Not the asshole, but sit down with your housemate and remind them that they are using your stuff without your permission or reimbursement, and that's not fair to you. Especially if they aren't even offering to share what they made using your ingredients. If they aren't replacing what they're using, then you are not the asshole. You and your roommate have an understanding, but that seems to vanish when roommate's partner shows up, which is super rude. So this person is miffed at you because you've made it harder for them to steal from you? Oh well, not the asshole. Totally not the asshole. Sesame oil, especially the toasted one, is very expensive. It's like using a specialty balsamic vinegar versus white vinegar. The 4-ounce plain sesame oil bottles are $5, which would last 2 recipes. I paid $9 for 6 ounces of toasted sesame oil yesterday. It is not akin to salt and pepper, but more like a primary ingredient. At a minimum, they should simply ask. People are so lacking in basic manners. Alternatively, after the first time you noticed, simply let her know that those are expensive and inquire if she wants to fund a joint cabinet for condiments. Otherwise, certain ones are not being shared. Info: have you or your roommate or both actually told the partner that the spices, and any other food that is yours, are not common property? That should be your first step. If he's been informed and continues to steal the soy sauce, there's one judgment, and if he hasn't been informed, there's the opposite one. In many shared households, even if meat, vegetables, prepared meals etc. aren't shared, condiments are. This has to be made clear. I would have just told them straight, stop using all your things as it's getting ridiculous, and to also clean up after themselves. Am I the asshole for calling my mom a liar after finding out my dad is not my bio father? I, 28 female, was raised by my mother, and spent most of my childhood visiting my dad every 2 weeks and certain holidays. My dad is no longer in my life. The last time I heard from him was about 12 years ago, however the reasons for this falling out are not relevant to this post. My dad used to tell my sisters that the reason he and my mom divorced was because of an affair that happened around the time I was conceived. He told them that he has always been suspicious that I am not his biological daughter, however it is worth noting that nothing was ever said to me directly. I look nothing like my dad and have some medical things that are genetic that don't seem to come from either my mom or dad's side of the family. Finally, about a month ago, I decided I wanted to find out. I did an ancestry kit. Last night I got the results. Not a single member of my dad's side of the family was listed, however there were a lot of people I'd never heard of before coming from my paternal DNA side. One of those relatives shared more DNA with me than my sister. I found her on social media and got in touch with her. Turns out her dad was working at the college my mother was attending the year I was conceived. Through some deductive reasoning we discovered she was in fact my half-sister and that man was my biological father. When I called my mom to ask her about this, I made it clear that I wasn't angry, her marriage was her business and I'm just looking for answers. She claimed she had never slept with anyone outside of her marriage and that ancestry must not be very accurate. I chose not to confront her at this time. I wanted to gather more information and calm down a bit before trying to get some answers again. Then a few hours later she called me back, this time claiming that she'd had time to think about it and that she did remember being surprised about her pregnancy with me as she hadn't been very sexually active with my dad during that time. She said she was really disturbed because she doesn't know who that man is and is worried she was a victim. I kinda lost it at this point. I was disgusted that she was trying to make herself a victim in this situation instead of taking accountability and giving me the answers I deserve. I called her a liar and she started crying and hung up the phone. My husband says I was way too harsh with her, and I put too much pressure on her out of the blue. He says I should have been a bit more gentle with her and reassured her that I'm not angry. Maybe he's right, but honestly I am angry so I DK. Edit. For a little more context, my mom has a long history of lying compulsively. We have been working on our relationship for about a year but is almost incapable of taking accountability for the truly traumatic childhood she gave us. I'd be more inclined to give her the benefit of the doubt if it wasn't completely in line with her character to have an affair. Plus my dad already told my sisters he knew about the affair. Also, for those who have been asking about Bio Dad's position at the university, He worked in the kitchen, was not a professor. My mom was 25 at the time. For a little more context, my mom has a long history of lying compulsively. We have been working on our relationship for about a year but is almost incapable of taking accountability for the truly traumatic childhood she gave us. I'd be more inclined to give her the benefit of the doubt if it wasn't completely in line with her character to have an affair. Plus my dad already told my sisters he knew about the affair. Not the asshole. I'd be furious too. 28 years of lies and then gaslighting isn't exactly a gentle situation. Finding out your biological father isn't who you thought and having your mom dodge accountability is huge. You're allowed to be upset and demand the truth. Calling her a liar might have been blunt, but your feelings are valid, and it sounds like she's the one struggling to face reality here. Not the asshole. She lied in the face of scientific fact. Even if she wasn't ready to confess the entire truth, there are ways to delay the conversation that don't include blatantly lying. Not the asshole. You've just found out some life-changing news. It's understandable that you would feel very upset about being lied to for so long and for your mother to continue to deny when you have proof. You will probably never get a straight answer from her about this. Not the asshole. Boo-hoo for your mother. She has had plenty of time to get the story straight when this question would inevitably come up. Zero chance this question ever should have been a surprise and it was her duty to give you the truth. She failed miserably. Sad for you that you have now lost both, 3 parents, even though they are still alive. Info. Is it possible that she was roofied and actually does not recall? Am I the asshole for telling my son he's a doormat? I, 44F, have a high school-aged son. He started at a new high school for freshman year in a district had never been to before. So, my son seems to have self-confidence issues. He thinks the only way he can make friends is to offer them something. He's very skilled academically, so what he feels he has to offer is answers on assignments in class. Like, last year, if literally anyone asked him for answers he would give it up hoping they would like him. Same with group projects. He'd be doing other people's part of the project to make it easier on them. After school last week, he was telling me, complaining about, how all said people didn't talk to him anymore even though they had talked in classes they had last year and thought they were friends. Or at least acquainted. I told him if he'd stop being a doormat and trying to win people over with giving them stuff and getting nothing in return he'd actually make some friends. I wasn't trying to be rude as this post seems to be. He's been pretty distant since. Am I the asshole? You are the asshole completely. You don't belittle someone into more self-confidence. Jesus dude. You are the asshole. So instead of trying to figure out why he is struggling socially and building his self-confidence, you opt for making him feel worse about himself. Interesting strategy but not a good one. How about considering therapy and getting him involved in activities that build his self-confidence and social skills, like karate, improv, Toastmasters? His teachers may also have some insight from working with kids his age on the regular. He could need to build his confidence and social skills. He might not find his people at his school or it could be something more, like autism. But you'll get much further by supporting him and building him up than by insulting him. You are the asshole. You raised your kid and then have the audacity to insult him. Anyone would have confidence issues with you as a parent. You are the asshole big time. He's a freshman in high school trying to make friends. No wonder he has no self-confidence, with a parent like you cheering him on face with rolling eyes. You are the asshole for not realizing that you've outed yourself as your child's bully. You say that he believes that his only worth to people comes from what he achieves, not from who he is as a person. That didn't come from nowhere, it came from his parents. And those parents, you, are the ones who should have built his confidence and his social skills through his life. Where else would a child learn that? You have failed your son and now you are blaming him for it. Utterly asshole behavior. You are the asshole now he knows that even his mom thinks he's a loser.